The 15 richest countries in the world. The GDP per capita is the wealth divided by the number of inhabitants in the country, which is a helpful measurement that can provide insight into the quality of life in a country. If the GDP per capita is high, this can often indicate the wealth and prosperity of the country's inhabitants. Here you will see the top 15 richest countries in the world. In terms of GDP per capita and the high living standards of its citizens, Germany is one of the world's richest countries.
It is one of the world's biggest exporters. Germany exports automobiles, chemicals, electronic and electrical products, machinery, etc. The country is Europe's largest manufacturing economy. Iceland. It is estimated that about 85% of the country's primary energy supply is met from domestically produced renewable sources of energy.
The use of hydroelectric and geothermal power has made the country the largest per capita electricity producer in the world. It has also made Iceland one of the world's top greenest economies. The mixed economy of Iceland heavily relies on the intervention of the government as well as the improved levels of free trade. Some of the major industries of Iceland include tourism, manufacturing, aluminum smelting, fisheries, agriculture, etc. Austria. Austria is one of the world's richest countries due to its highly well-developed social market and industrialized economy. In addition to its highly developed industries, international tourism is also one of the major contributors to the economy of Austria. Approximately 66% of the imports and exports of Austria come from its trade with the other member states of the European Union. Netherlands. The prosperous and open economy of the Netherlands is heavily dependent on foreign trade, low unemployment and inflation rates, stable industries, and the country's significant role as the major transportation hub of Europe. Some of the major industries of the Netherlands include petroleum refining, food processing, financial services, electrical machinery, etc. The Netherlands is also one of the world's leading exporters, with its key trading partners being Germany, the United Kingdom, France, the United States, Russia, China, Italy, and Belgium. Denmark. Denmark's $58,439 gross national income per capita was considered the world's seventh highest. With more than 5,822,763 inhabitants living in the country, the mixed economy of Denmark is rightly supported by the high standards of living, dependence on foreign exports and imports, and an improved level of government services and income transfers. Some of the significant industries in Denmark include construction, medical and transportation equipment, food processing, wind turbines, etc. The country mainly exports fish, meat, dairy products, pharmaceuticals, machinery, crude oil, etc. San Marino. The stable and prosperous economy of San Marino is partly owed to its resourceful citizens, who were able to successfully adapt and utilize their available resources. Today its hard-working citizens contribute to the economy by producing ceramics, tiles, building materials, furniture, clothing, fabrics, paints, quality spirits, and wines for export. The export of fruit has also been a factor in the nation's recent economic growth. While the cost of living in San Marino is comparable to Italy, the even distribution of wealth in this socialist society has led to one of the lowest poverty rates in the world. Lastly, with its low local population count and close to 3.5 million travelers a year, more than half of the country's GDP goes to tourism. Brunei. Having gained independence from Britain in 1984, the small country of Brunei, situated in South Asia, quickly grew to become one of the richest countries in the world. Its Sultan regulates everything from the military to the economy, imposing unique punishing rules and providing free education and medical care for its citizens. Brunei has an over 97% literacy rate. What has made Brunei so rich is its offshore oil drilling industry, bringing the economic riches from export. It is well known that there are people in Brunei who enjoy luxurious things in life, with more car ownership than in most countries in the world. United States. With resource-rich land and the biggest economy in the world, the United States has a strong purchasing power. It supplies its energy and can export its oil and gas for profit, and the size of its economy and the high rate of real GDP growth goes unmatched by any other country. As a relatively deregulated market economy with a decentralized political system, there are virtually no state-owned enterprises, and the legal system protects the liability of investors. Norway. Norway is known to have the highest standard of living on Earth and ranked top on the Human Development Index with its advanced education systems, distinct social security system, and universal health care. Its raw oil and gas resources exports lead the economy, while abundant reserves guarantee future prosperity, including seafood, hydropower, lumber, minerals, natural gas, and fresh water. Petroleum is another export that has been bringing Norway riches since the 1970s. The government invests in free education for its citizens, while parents ensure that kids learn the importance of productivity from an early age in school. The main occupancies include telecommunications and technologies. Featuring low unemployment and poverty rates at 3.5%, respectively, it is no wonder that Norway's standard of living is strived for by other nations. United Arab Emirates. The pearl industry prevailed in this country from the 1770s until the late 1930s, when pearl diving was a hobby turned into a significant source of income for the people living in the small villages. Having been able to establish some of the most luxurious resorts in the world, Dubai, along with the rest of the country, has moved on to tourism, which keeps investing in itself through ongoing growth and popularity. The United Arab Emirates' income comes primarily from oil, and surplus from the oil industry. The photo shows skyscrapers rising from the sand during the construction boom in Dubai 2008. Switzerland. Considered one of the happiest and healthiest nations on Earth, Switzerland is home to German, French and Italian-speaking citizens, living peacefully and thriving together for over 800 years. Even with its high cost of living, expensive products, and services and the Swiss franc's extremely high value with a high conversion rate to other currencies, people stream to engage with this country through business or tourism. A stable economy with a fixed currency value, Switzerland is regarded highly by investors searching for a safe haven for highly profitable feats. Attractive tax rates bring in investment, while international companies seek to expand their business to Switzerland. Ireland. Low corporate taxes continuously attract numerous multi-billion-dollar companies to relocate and grow their business in Ireland, contributing to the GDP and the high standard of living for the people. Although citizens receive high wages, the income per capita has been growing much slower than the collective GDP. Nevertheless, the country's stability and ongoing wealth gain from tourism, agriculture, and manufacturing is coveted by others. Qatar. Qatar first began massive exports of natural in 1997 to Japan and Spain, expanding to other countries in the early 2000s. 15 years and 14 natural gas plants later, its GDP has grown exponentially from $30 billion to over $200 billion. Qatar has the largest natural gas reserves globally, following Russia and Iran, at nearly 900 trillion cubic feet, earning 60% of its collective GDP. Having discovered oil in 1939 and natural gas 30 years later, it began producing 46,500 barrels per day in 1951. The country also receives significant returns on investments in foreign brands, banks, and even the Paris Saint-Germain soccer team and real estate in London. Singapore. Having no natural resources to build its economy on has not stopped the hard-working and inventive Singaporeans from turning their country into the second richest in the world. Being a central world hub for global financial services firms drives the economy. The jobs in manufacturing, services, transport engineering, and logistics pay its citizens well, while electronics, biotechnology, and chemicals are the country's main exports. By erecting high-end infrastructure and significantly expanding its tourism sector, Singapore attracts millions of tourists every year. On top of that, the government procured a very investor-friendly economic environment of free trade, open market, and attractively low tax rates, sought after by international firms and business travelers. Luxembourg. Known for high income levels and a low unemployment rate, Luxembourg is the richest country in the world. With its inflation rate at only 1.1%, its wealth is also extremely stable. The primary factor for Luxembourg's high GDP is the large number of people working in this tiny, landlocked nation while residing in the neighboring Western European countries. Today, as one of the most educated labor forces in the world, Luxembourg prospers from a mix of industries, predominantly and an import-export economy based on financial services. The advanced infrastructure and high values for the labor market attract investment and duplicates of the big outside firms, having depended on the steel and iron industry for a long time until it stopped bringing profit in the 1970s. The nation adapted superbly. Small to medium-sized companies expanded, while multinational corporations highly demand a highly skilled labor force with the ability to speak multiple languages. There is also a small but prosperous agricultural sector in the country,